The summit in Tirana brought together 47 heads of state and governments of the European political community. Agenda is filled with pressing security and cooperation issues.
The 6th European Political Community Summit kicked off on Friday in Tirana, gathering 47 European heads of state and government, as well as EU and NATO leaders, to discuss regional security, economic resilience, migration and cooperation. Notable attendees include Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, President of the Council of the European Union, Antonio Costa, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte. The summit follows a high-stakes meeting in Ankara between Zelensky and Erdoğan on peace efforts, as well as NATO foreign ministers' talks in Antalya on regional security. Hopes for renewed negotiations were thrown into doubt after Russian President Vladimir Putin failed to show up for talks in Istanbul, sending instead a low-level delegation of aides. The absence of Russian officials sparked criticism from European leaders.
A low-level delegation with this historian leading that delegation, who was also there in the talks in 2022. The ball is clearly in his part of the field now, in his court. He has to play ball. He has to be serious about wanting peace. So I think all the pressure is now on Putin.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer emphasised the need for unity and stronger action against Moscow.
What we saw yesterday and overnight is yet more evidence that Putin is not serious about peace. He's been dragging his heels. And I think it's really important, therefore, that we have absolute unity with our allies. We'll be working on that again today to be clear that there must be a ceasefire, but also to be clear that should there not be a ceasefire, then we will act together in relation to sanctions.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced a new sanctions package targeting Russia.
And this shows his true beliefs, so we will increase the pressure. We're working on a new package of sanctions that include sanctions against Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, but also listing more vessels in the shadow fleet and lowering the oil price cap, and finally more financial sanctions on the Russian financial sector.
Ukraine is a very important member state of the Council of Europe. We are supporting Ukraine since many years, really strongly. And we had, in the last ministerial of the Council of Europe, the last 2 days in Luxembourg, also the first discussions about the creation of the special tribunal addressing the crime of aggression. The Council of Europe is strongly dedicated to accountability.
The Kremlin stated on Friday that a summit between President Putin and President Trump is essential for progress on Ukraine and other issues, but it must be thoroughly prepared and result-oriented to be successful. European Council President Antonio Costa and President von der Leyen met with both the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and President Ilham Aliyev, and congratulated them on the finalisation of the peace treaty, expressing the EU's readiness to invest in regional connectivity and support the integration of South Caucasus into broader European frameworks. Apart from that, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer engaged in discussions with EU leaders to reset post-Brexit relations, focusing on areas such as fisheries, youth mobility, Erasmus participation and a new agri-food trade agreement. These talks aim to culminate in a formal agreement at the upcoming EU-UK summit in London on May 19th.